"Ugh, I paid way too much for shipping last year." If you're saying that, you want to save money. And who doesn't? Stuff's expensive and you want your business to turn a profit. But e-commerce shipping, when you look at it at first, it feels like something you can't do anything about. It's just the cost of doing business. The thing you have to accept. UPS or USPS or FedEx tells you the postage costs X, and there'll be X plus 6% next year, and that's that. Not so. You have more power than you think you have here. And in this video, we're going to talk about how you can save money on e-commerce shipping. You're busy, so we're going to focus on practical tips. My name is Brandon, here on behalf of Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping your orders, go to fulfillrite.com and request a quote. We've shipped for thousands of clients and we'd be happy to help ship for you too. The quote doesn't cost a thing, so if nothing else, you get some good information on pricing. Link in the description. Okay, but enough self-promotion. Let's talk about how you can save money on shipping. Let's start with how shipping costs work. You can't save money on shipping if you don't know how the costs are calculated. So let's start there. The largest chunk of your shipping expenses is postage. This is what you pay shipping carriers like FedEx, UPS, or USPS for their service. This is almost always the biggest part of your shipping cost equation. Now, postage rates, they're different for every shipment, but they're always based on three things: the weight of the package, the size of the package, and how far it has to travel. You'll see this reflected in different pricing structures in different ways. Carriers have three basic pricing structures. You've got your flat rate, your weight base, and your dimensional weight pricing. Flat rate is very straightforward. It's a fixed fee for packages up to a certain weight and size that fit in like a certain size box. Weight base is calculated based on the package's weight, and dimensional weight considers the volume of the package in addition to the weight. Now, regardless of whether you're shipping in a USPS flat box or shipping by weight with FedEx, you want to keep the cost low, so two rules will still apply. Keep your package small and keep it tight. Packaging is really important here. And yes, packaging is part of shipping costs. Boxes have a cost, filler material like bubble wrap and cardboard has a cost, but that pales in comparison to what I'm actually talking about, which is how packaging affects postage. Shipping a tiny little item in a big box will 9 times out of 10 cost more per unit than the filler material does. Once you understand the basic rules at play here, especially the impact of packaging on postage, you can see and often calculate specifically ways to save money. Now, we'll talk about packaging in a little bit, but first I want to talk about avoiding retail shipping costs. This is a really big one, really big. If you start up an e-commerce shop, it's tempting to go to the post office or the UPS store, but even if you're shipping out a single unit per week, you really shouldn't do that. Retail postage is just unnecessarily expensive. ShipStation, EasyShip, even Shopify, they all grant you access to discounted shipping rates. These platforms have negotiated rates with carriers due to their high volume, and by using them, you tap into these lower rates. It's like buying wholesale instead of retail. The more you ship, the more you save. Seriously, I'm not joking. I've personally saved up to 70% using Shopify's built-in discount rates on UPS, and I've seen reports of discounts upwards of 90% off retail. 90%! And if you're shipping with a third-party logistics company, a 3PL like Fulfillrite, a fulfillment center, you'll get to take advantage of discounted shipping rates this way too. Just about every 3PL ships a large volume, so they aggregate the shipping volumes of multiple businesses, securing rates that are much lower than what you would have access to as an individual business. In plain English, they get big discounts on postage and then pass some of that on to you. So again, I cannot stress this enough. Never ever pay for retail postage rates if you can avoid it. Alright, rant over. That's the easiest thing you can do right now. Once you do that, you should really shift your focus optimizing packaging. Okay, so you need to do two things here. Keep the package as small as possible and protect your items from breaking. Thankfully, these two objectives are compatible, and in fact, the right size packaging is actually better at protecting items. That's because they don't rattle around inside the box if there's empty space. So here's what you need to do. Pick the smallest possible box that your item can fit in with an adequate amount of padding. Add an inch or a couple of centimeters on each side, that's the ideal. Custom packaging is even better because you can put cardboard inserts inside to hold the items in place. Plus, custom packaging makes the unboxing experience better, which is always great when you want to trend on Insta or TikTok. Whether you make custom packaging or simply buy more right-sized packaging off the shelf from Uline, you will save a ton on void fill material, spend less on boxes, and most importantly, the postage costs down. Choosing the right packaging materials is key. You want materials that are light, yet sturdy enough to protect those items in transit. So you've got corrugated bubble wrap, inflatable air pillows, and other options like that that provide protection without adding much weight. And you can do it sustainably too. Now, I touched on this a minute ago, but it's worth saying again. Smart packaging choices can significantly reduce your return rate. Damaged goods are a leading cause of returns in e-commerce. I mean, it's happened to everybody, right? You buy something, it shows up broken. Quality packaging helps you avoid these costs and keep customers happy. Speaking of returns, let's talk about more ways you can go about reducing return costs. Depending on where you look online, return rates in e-commerce can be as high as 30%, but even if it were a third of that, that's huge. Every return shipment costs about the same to bring in as it costs to send out. And do you think your customer is going to want to pay for postage? No, not in 2024 on a return. They're not going to want to do that. So step 1, make your returns policy crystal clear. Make sure it's easy to find, prominently displayed, and easy to understand. This will cut down on frivolous returns and probably help you close more sales in the future, since people really do check return policies before they buy. Complement this with detailed product descriptions. Leave no room for misinterpretation. Include high-quality images from various angles and, if applicable, such as in clothing, on different body types. For items like apparel, detailed sizing charts are a must. Accurate representation helps customers make informed decisions, significantly cutting down on size or expectation-related returns. Following best practices on returns streamlines the customer experience, enhances satisfaction, and reduces the frequency and cost of returns. Less processing and fewer return shipments directly translate to more savings for your business. Keeping 3PL costs low. So as a quick reminder here, 3PLs are fulfillment centers. A lot of e-commerce stores use them to manage order fulfillment on their behalf. That's what we do at Fulfillrite. Now, not every e-com shop needs a 3PL. As we said in a prior video of ours, put simply, there are 2 reasons why you'd want help shipping orders: time and money. That is, you either save a bunch of time by not having to ship a bunch of orders, or a bunch of money by not having to pay staff to ship out for you, or by getting cheaper postage rates by working with a fulfillment partner. Now, usually this will happen somewhere around the neighborhood of 100 orders per month, but that's really just a rule of thumb. Well said, past me. When you need a 3PL, it's great, but you still want to keep those costs down. So to do that, you need to understand how 3PLs price their services. It basically comes down to this: storage fees and postage. Those are the 2 fees that you have a lot of influence over. If you follow good demand planning practices, you can keep your inventory levels right where they need to be. That'll help cut down on storage. More info that in a video linked, I don't know, somewhere above my head. For postage, location is key. Yes, you can choose slower shipping, and that can save you money. Sometimes customers are generally impatient, so try and avoid that unless your customer base doesn't care. And they probably do. If you're picking a 3PL or working with one with multiple locations, just make sure you have inventory close to where your customers like. Here's a map of postage zones. In this case, the USPS. The zones marked 1 to 4, that's a lot cheaper than any zone 5 or above. Different carriers do their zones differently, so you'll need to be a little more specific in your research, but the point is, find where the price break is and try and position your inventory in warehouses where you take advantage of that as much as possible. And hey, if you don't have enough orders to justify being in multiple warehouses, that's okay. This is just something that you're going to want to start thinking about once you're shipping around 200, 300 orders per month. Don't feel pressured to over-optimize this. Just be aware that you can do it. Now, aside from that, it's a good idea to periodically check your 3PL invoices and make sure the prices are in line with industry standards. You don't necessarily want the cheapest 3PL, since a good one can help you retain customers and keep return costs low. Just make sure the invoices aren't riddled with a bunch of costs that don't make any sense. And there you have it. You can do more about shipping costs than you might think. Your packaging has a huge impact on postage costs, and if you can reduce returns even by a little bit, that'll help out a lot. Aside from that, if you're looking for an order fulfillment center, consider overall shipping costs. As part of that, though as not the whole thing, that's a complex decision. We have a whole other video about it. And lastly, don't let me catch you waiting in line at the post office with your e-com orders under your arm. Please, please. Retail postage rates are for private individuals. They're not for online sellers like you, and you don't have to pay full price. Anyway, My name is Brandon, here on behalf of Fulfillrite. If you need help shipping your orders, go to fulfillrite.com and request a quote. We ship for thousands of clients and we're happy to help you ship your orders too. The quote doesn't cost a thing, so if nothing else, you get some good information about pricing. Link in the description. Now, if you liked this video and you enjoyed my rants about retail postage rates, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Don't forget to slap some postage on that bell so we can express ship new videos to you as soon as they drop. And last but not least, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll personally answer as many of them as I am able to. Thanks for watching.